Yesterday we saw that meditation which was taught earlier, Yachet Vang Manasi, Prajñas Tad Yachet, Jnanamatmani Mahatini Yachet, Tad Yachet, Shantamatmani. This was taught in the earlier chapter. A similar thought comes back here again. Indriyebhya Param Mano Manasa Sattvamuttamam Sattvadadi Mahanatma Mahato Avyaktamuttamam Avyaktaktu Parah Purusho Vyapako Alinga Evacha Yam Gyatva Muchyate Jantu Amrutatvam Chagachati. The one who has been able to absorb the senses into the mind into a pure intellect, not the Rajoguna, not the intellect filled of Tamoguna. It is Sattva Buddhi, which knows what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, Dharma, Adharma, Karya, Akarye, Bhaya, Abhaye, Moksham cha, Bandham cha yo vetti sa buddhi, Partha Sattviki. So Pravrittam, Nivrittam, all these things are known to this buddhi. What is the right thing to do? Shreyo Preyo is known to this buddhi. That kind of purified intellect. And where do you develop this purified intellect with? You develop it with the company of noble people. Satsangatve, Nissangatvam, Nissangatve, Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve, Nischalatatvam, Nischalatatve, Jivan Mukti. So through Satsanga, through the company of the noble and the wise, those who are Brahmanishtha, Brahmapara, Brahmanaveshanamana, these kind of people who have been practicing Shraddha, Tapaha, Brahmacharya, such kind of people whose minds have become purified, buddhi has become sattvic due to constant engagement with people of such good intellect. That is why I say, tell me your company, I shall tell you what you are. Kind of people you live with, that is the kind of person you become. That is how your buddhi is going to be. Therefore, keeping good company is very, very important. Anybody who is worldly, anybody who is very desirous of things, anybody who is always interested in his hairstyle or her beauty, such people you should stay a little away from, because you will get dragged into them. Somebody asked me, Swami, if you tell us to stay away from the bad people, who is going to transform them? Who is going to transform them? Our role is to get into the society and do Jagat Hitaya, transform people, especially those who are bad people. That is where we are needed the most. I said, yes, that is true. However, have you transformed yourself in the first place? Has Atmano Mokshartham happened to you? If it has happened, then Jagat Hitaya will happen. Then you go in anywhere when you are not having any attachment to anything. That's why it is said in Ashtavakra Gita, Nirvasanam Harim Drishtva, Tushnim Vishayadantinaha, Palayante na Shaktaste, Sevante Kritachatavaha. It means when the lion of Nirvasanam, desirelessness, appears on the scene in the forest, Tushnim, all shut up. Who? Vishayadantina, the elephants of the senses and sense objects, they all shut up and mind their business. They don't touch this lion, Nirvasanam, who is desireless. And what do? Palayante, they run away from such a person who is Brahmagyani, who is desireless person. They all run away, these senses and sense objects. They don't come in trouble. And if they cannot run away, na shaktaste, if you cannot run away for whatever reason, what do? Sevante, they serve this person, krita chatavaha. How? Like very sweet speaking servants will be there. Sweet tongued, very obliging. That kind of servants they become. Totally obedient, no disobedience to this. Why? Because you saw yesterday, Bhayad Agnish Tapati, Bhayas Indras Vayuscha, or what? All gods, even Mrityu Dhavati Panchama. Out of the fear of that lion of Vedanta who has developed desirelessness, who has become a Brahmagyani, such a person is free to go wherever. You can get into the worst of the places also, and nothing will happen to you. Why? Because you have been transformed. You are no more coal. You have become diamond, temperature, pressure, you remember. So how can you go back to becoming coal again? But if you are a coal still and you go, you will also get burnt along with others. Therefore, once you have transformed yourself, then Jagat Hitaya you can do. Otherwise, what can happen? You may end up there and you will get into bad company, and that bad company may ruin you. You may not be able to hold on to your good character. Therefore, once your transformation is complete in such a way that there is no way it can be reversed again. Once you have transformed yourself into completely divine without any humanness in you, there is no way it can turn back into human. I give example of how mercury is turned into gold. It cannot be turned back into mercury. How an iron is made into a magnet, it cannot be made into iron and which can rust again. How a coal has been transformed into diamond, it cannot go back to becoming coal again. Do what you want. Likewise, when you have become Brahma Vidwan, who knows the Brahman, who has realized the Brahman within and everywhere else, such a person alone is capable of going into the world and transforming the world. Otherwise, the whole thing can be very, very dangerous. Shurasya dhara, nishita dhuratya, it can become a dangerous thing. With half knowledge, if you go out to preach others, ande naya ven niyamana yathanda, it will become. Blind leading the blind. Therefore, you should be careful because it can be your destruction first. Whether you will save them or not is the second thing. First, you can save yourself or not in such a place, that is the first thing you must see. That's why I say first run away from bad company. Don't wait there. Tyaja durjana samsargam. Bhaja sadhu samagamam. That I tell first thing. After you have transformed yourself completely, you have trained well, and there is no way you can again fall for such temptations again in your life, then only you should get into Loka Kshema and Loka Sangraha and Loka Hita, Jagat Hitaya. All that can be done after that. But with half knowledge, if you jump in, there is every possibility that you will get spoilt. So it says that is why Indriyas have to put in Manas. Manas has to be controlled by Sattva Buddhi. But this Sattva Buddhi is not enough. Because your Sattva Buddhi is still your own thinking, individual thinking. So merge it into the collective, Mahanatma. The collective Buddhi, it means welfare. More than thinking I, you think of we. That is Mahata Buddhi. And from there you merge your Buddhi into higher one. That is Avyakta. So in the Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic mind that you have already gone in, further you go up, it's saying. So Ishvara mind is there. Now from there, Avyakta, you go into the Purusha, Parabrahman, and you become one with him. Then what happens? Then your nature has changed. Now you are completely living in the divine thoughts, divine feelings, and nobody can touch you. Nobody can change you. You are completely established in that divine idea, and nobody can touch you again. Nobody can tempt you back into the worldly ways. Otherwise, this danger is always there, that you may be very good. That's why people say, we come to ashram, we are with Swami, we are very happy, we feel we are the most noblest and the purest people on earth. Go back to your homes and to your old friends and old company, everything reverses. Again those ideas come back. I want this, I want that, I want to go here, go there, eat that, enjoy that. All these ideas. And then one by one, 4 o'clock will become 4:30, then 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, back to the 7 o'clock schedule. Not able to drag yourself out of the bed. Not able to sleep till 2 o'clock in the night. This drama starts again. It won't take very long. 2-3 days of slackness or 2-3 days of carelessness is enough. It will drag you back all the way to where you began. You are back to zero. That's why ek pag aage, do pag piche. Tum tak kaise aaye? How do I come to you? 1 step I take forward, 2 steps I go back. Our monkey mind is how once it slips, it keeps slipping and goes back all the way to the bottom. And then sometimes it may put effort to rise again, sometimes it may not put the effort at all. And it will remain there. So all the climbing that you did will come slipping down in no time. Therefore you have to be very careful, work on transforming yourself. When should you work? Where should you work? Here and now. That is the answer. He said, don't think that someday after you reach the Brahmaloka or the other lokas, because the punyam that you have done here, there is a plenty of time over there. That's where I will sit and do all my transformation. Forget that. That may not happen, because yesterday we saw it is not very clear. Brahmagyana is not clear in those lokas. Because people get there and then they forget everything. They want to enjoy those lokas because their lokas are designed like that. Gandharva loka, Pitur loka, Deva lokas, they have been designed like that for your enjoyment. So it is very difficult for you to come back again into the idea of realizing Brahman. Forget those lokas. So in this birth, can I do it after I retire? Once you retire, back will pain, tooth will pain, heart problem, BP problem, sugar problem. In that only all your mind will be. One day you wake up from the bed with a backache, then whole day massage and injections for you, that's it. Where meditation? Where is Brahma Jnana there? This I can't eat, that I can't eat. I cannot sit, I cannot breathe, I cannot sleep. All kinds of problems. These old people are there. One old lady went to doctor. Doctor, I am not able to sleep at all in the night. Why? What happened? I don't know. From some days I am not able to sleep at all in the night. Then doctor asked, what do you do whole day? He said, whole day I sleep. That is why you are not sleeping in the night. Laziness, tamas, during the rajas time you sleep. And tamas time you want to be rajas. Oh, you will become rajas naturally. That time you won't get sleep. All kinds of things will happen at the old age. You ask them, those who grow old without any spiritual background, you ask them their schedules, you see. They are the most difficult people on earth. They themselves are not happy, nor they allow anybody else to be happy. They won't sleep, they won't let anybody sleep. So the idea is that it has to be done now and here, when the body is strong, mind is sharp, buddhi is still pure, has not got entangled in the worldly ways, has not yet developed all kinds of desires and attachments and responsibilities. This is the time you realize Brahman. After that you enter, no problem. Once you have learned how to swim, you enter the ocean, no problem, you can swim across. But if you have not learned it properly, you want to save somebody else who is drowning, how is it possible? You both will drown. Therefore, first you learn, and learn it now, don't delay, is the message in yesterday's class. 9th shloka. न संदृशे तिष्ठति रूपमस्य न चक्षुषा पश्यति कश्चनैनं हृदा मनीषा मनसा विक्लुप्तो य एतद्विदुः अमृतास्ते भवन्ति. Yes, this is a similar thought that had come earlier. न संदृशे तिष्ठति रूपमस्य. The sandrisha means that which can be seen. Drishya. This is something which does not stay as something that can be seen with a form. Rupam asya tishtati na sandrishe. In any form it is not available to be seen. What? This Brahman. So you can see things with your eyes. Remember Drigdrishya Viveka. Objects can be seen with the eye. Eyes is seen by the mind. Mind is seen by the Atman. Nobody sees the Atman. It sees itself. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. Sun does not shine. Moon is not there. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. As it shines, everything else shines. Tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. Because it shines, everything else is shining. In its shine, in its light. So how do we see that? We cannot see that by any other means. He says, therefore, because it is not having any form, we also have learned from this that Pancham Shakams are there. Asti iti priyam nama rupam. And nama rupam is jagat rupam. Asti bhati priyam is the Brahma rupam. So Asti Bhati Priyam does not have a name and form. So how can you see it with your eyes or even with your mind? It is said in other Upanishads also. Eyes don't go there, mind does not go there. Navang gacchati, words don't go there. How do we na vidmo na vijanimo? I do not understand, nor I have learnt how to explain it to you. Yat etad anushishyad. How do I teach you? I don't know, because for anything to teach you, I need words or I need some objects to show an example. Or through your mind I can ask you to imagine some way. Neither I can speak in words, nor I can show you in front of your eyes, nor I can ask you to imagine your mind. All three ways of learning is not possible. So what do I do now? That is the problem of the Rishi in Kenopanishad. So the same issue here. Mind or anything is not capable of grasping it. Eyes are not able to see means mind is also not able to see. The next one it says, na chakshusha pashyati kaschanainam. For these eyes cannot see, whichever eye, the physical eye or the eye of the mind cannot see. Nobody has seen kaschit enam. Nobody has ever seen this. Nobody can ever see it like we see objects outside us. Or we even see our thoughts or our visions. We cannot see it like that. That is why when you are meditating and you have a vision, some gods are appearing, some lights appearing, then you have to simply tell yourself, this is not Brahman. Because Brahman cannot be understood by all these things. Chakshu is one example, but it applies to all the indriyas, 5 indriyas. I can smell Brahman, I can hear Brahman talk, I can touch Brahman, I can taste Brahman. It all doesn't apply to Brahman because he is beyond all this. So what is the way to understand it? Another line says, Hruda manisha manasa viklupto. It has to be understood in your own heart, Hruda. Hruda means not the physical heart, lubed-up heart, but the space here, which is the Hrudaya Kasha we call. In that space it resides, that knowledge resides. and Manisha, and that Manisha means Buddhi. That is why Manishinam they say, means the intelligent ones. So in your own self, where the Buddhi resides, Mahati Atmani call it, Jnana Atmani call it, by Shanta Atmani, that resides there. With that pure Buddhi, Sattva Buddhi, which controls the Manas. Manisha is the controller of the Manas, therefore Buddhi. So Buddhi which controls the mind, Abhiklupto, and gets to know it in a very, very confirmed way. It is not any confusion there. When your mind is pure, your Buddhi is sharp, within yourself, without any confusion, without any misconception, you get to know it. That is the only way to know it. So have I seen it? No. Have I heard it? No. Have I tasted it? No. Have I touched it? No. Have I smelt it? No. Then how do I know Brahman exists? Within my own heart, with a purified mind and a sharp intellect, the Sattva Buddhi, it is possible for me to realize the presence of this Atman or Brahman. And ya etad viduhu, the one who comes to know of it, amrutaste bhavanti, becomes immortal. Again, immortal does not mean that he'll go on living in the same physical body forever and ever. Idea is that he is no more afraid of death and birth, because he knows he is not somebody who was ever born, so there is no way he can die. All these ajayate, mriyate, all this is applicable to the body, and he is not the body. This realization comes to him. That is why he becomes Amruto Bhavanti, the one who cannot die. He now identifies himself or herself with the Atman, no more with the body, no more with the mind, and so considers oneself as immortal. So how do I know it? I know it only through my own mind which has been purified, and the Buddhi which is discriminating, which has clearly discriminated between the Nitya and Anitya. It has discarded the body, Indriyas, it has even controlled the mind and kind of discarded the thoughts of the mind. And beyond that, this Buddhi is so pure that it goes and merges itself in the higher Buddhi, and that's how I come to know of Brahman without everywhere. Because the biggest problem with this Brahman concept is it is not seen, heard, tasted, touched or smelt. Therefore the whole world refuses that it exists. God does not exist, they say. Why prove us that God exists? That's why some scientists with that, he said, God does not exist. He said, why? Because it cannot be weighed, it cannot be touched, tasted, smelled. No scientific experiments can prove its presence. He says, how do you know this? He says, just common sense. Where is the common sense? He says, here. He says, can you see it? Can you hear it? Can you taste it, smell it, touch it? He says, no. It means you don't have common sense. That's all it is. Some of these things are like science may be reflecting in the books and experiments and the teacher. But science as a subject has a separate existence which cannot be created nor be destroyed. You must see, no, we created. Just because Newton found out gravity, did he create gravity? Or Newton died, so gravity died? Or the books, if you have not read about Newton's books and some illiterate fellow in some place has never read anything about gravitational force, so does it mean gravity does not exist? He may not know it by name of gravity, but the very fact that he is walking on the earth and not flying away somewhere is the reason that gravity exists. So, the knowledge of Brahman has always existed. It is there and it will continue to be there. Whether we know it or not, it is our problem. Just because we cannot see it and we cannot know it through our senses, it does not mean that it does not exist. That is the idea. And how do you know it exists? Go beyond your Indriyas, go beyond your Manas, go beyond even your Buddhi. That is when you know that Brahman exists. Because all these are not going to help us. But purified mind and sharp Buddhi, it means what? That which is able to withdraw from the Indriyas and absorb in the higher Mahati Atmani and Shanta Atmani. That is how you get to know about Brahman is the idea in this particular thing. So all other efforts are a waste. Trying to know it in any other way is waste. 10th shloka. Yada panchavitishthante jnanani manasa saha buddhischa na vicheshtati tamahu paramam gatim. The ultimate destination, the ultimate realization, paramagatim, it's known as tam ahu. That one is called as paramagati when pancha avatishtante jnanani, jnanendriyas which are there with us, shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha, which is also part of the mind. When all these outer pancha karmendriyas and pancha gyanendriyas, karmendriyas means hasta, pada, upastha, payuhu, all these are not, they don't deviate, they don't kind of vacillate. They avatishtanti means it's steady. It's not disturbed. It is steady. It means sees an object, runs behind it. No, no more. Able to stay behind and keep oneself steady. In the physical karmendriyas, vakpani, padam, upastha, payuhu. So all these five are steady. You don't run behind things. And inside are what? Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. They are also steady. They also don't get disturbed. I'm sitting, nice smell comes from the kitchen, that's it. My meditation goes for a toss. God disappears, Brahman disappears, then those idly appear in my mind. Why? Because one nose has taken care of disturbing a meditation. Or some sound that comes, it disturbs the meditation. So any physical or somebody comes walking by or touches you, you are disturbed in your meditation. Many people's meditation is like that. They'll get so angry while meditating. As such, I don't know how to meditate. I'm trying something. Why are you talking? You people shut up. Why are you people doing this? Why are you walking? Keep quiet. Why do they do all these things? Because they're very, very, their meditation is very immature. They're still stuck in the indriyas only. Though they say that we are already meditating, but they have not even started the meditation. Why? Because still they're stuck in indriyas. Any indriya disturbance is disturbing their peace inside. Means what? They have not yet absorbed the indriyas into the mind and mind into the buddhi still. That is why they are able to react and respond to things which are happening outside. So karmendriyas are outside. They should not disturb you. Jnanendriyas are inside. They should not disturb you. And then what? He says manasa saha. Mind also should not get disturbed because your body may be steady. Absolute peace. Nobody is around. But your thoughts, maunam, atma vinigraha, this is manasa tapaha. Mind's penance is to keep quiet. Not the penance of mouth. The penance of mind is to keep quiet. So you will say, then Swami, aham brahma, sarvam brahma, what is that? No, that is to control your mind and senses right now. But eventually, aham brahma, sarvam brahma also should go away. In the continuous meditation of the thought, mananat, slowly you should dissolve away into the thought and you don't even realize that you are chanting or not chanting. You just go and get established in that thought. Yad bhavam tad bhavati, they say. As you think, you become. So that is the idea of aham brahma. First stop thinking that you are the indriyas and the body. Therefore, so what should I think now? Because mind cannot sit quiet. It needs to think something. Okay, don't think of wrong things. Don't think of ignorant things. Think of the truth. Truth is your Brahman. Okay, so you caught hold to that point now. So aham brahma, sarvam brahma is going on. That is at least helping you to keep your senses and mind under some control. Otherwise, they will take you on a ride, the horses. So this aham brahma, sarvam brahma is only first step to ensure that you think of the right things. Now what will happen? By continuously meditating on this thought of aham brahma, sarvam brahma, eventually this thought will become your living experience. Slowly it will come. And nobody needs to tell you that you are Brahman, you know it. Nor you should have to go and tell others that I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Not required, because you know it. So this is the way it is going to be. That is why the first thought is to keep your indriyas under control, to keep your mind steady, chant aham brahma, sarvam brahma, something nobler. But still, at this point in time, buddhi is there, which is vicheshtati. Vicheshtati means buddhi is coming up with his own analysis and thoughts. But this steadiness is where buddhi also stops. Buddhi also stops. It's not even thinking that I am chanting aham brahma, sarvam brahma. It's not even thinking. If you're chanting, it is happening. If you're not chanting also, it's fine. Because it is already established in the truth. Like a boy need not chant, I am boy, I am boy, I am boy, to remember that he is a boy. Or a person who is alive need not chant, I am alive, I am alive, I am alive, to know that he is alive. Likewise, at some point of time, buddhi need not even chant this. It has understood that, it has absorbed itself in the higher buddhi, and now it's no more vicheshtati, no more it's thinking or desiring or doing anything. Intellect has become also completely absorbed. But till such state, you have not attained Paramangatim. So after all these externals stop, they become steady. That is when you attain Paramam Gatim. So Vasishtha Ramayana simply defines Atma Brahmasthiti as Sanshantam Sarva Sankalpaha. All your thoughts and desires and decision making and analysis, everything becomes quiet. There is nothing happening in your mind. I know it's very difficult to imagine a mind like that. The only time it doesn't happen is when you are in deep sleep. It says Samshanta Sarva Sankalpa Shila Antarivasthitihi, like the inside of a stone. Whatever goes on outside is untouched inside. Summer season, winter season, rainy season. Look at these Nandi hills or look at these big, big stones on these hills. They've been there for thousands of years. And think of how outside only they're so steady. They don't move at all. Imagine if you can go inside the stone and imagine yourself to be established inside the stone. How it must be? Absolute peace, absolute steadiness. Outside only stone doesn't move. But you may say, no, the wind came, maybe a little it moved. It didn't move. Deep inside the stone, how it will be? Absolute no motions at all. Absolute steady, peace, calm. So Shila Antariva Sthitihi, that person's mind is like that of a stone which is absolutely at peace. Buddhi is not vicheshtati, manasa, jnanani, vandriyani, everything is avatishtanti. All are steady. No movement. And then what happens? Jadya nidra vinirmuktaha. He says when it should happen, not when you are deep sleep. No, jadya nidra vinirmuktaha. When not that you are lazying or where you are deep slumbering away. Not during that time. As you are awake, it should be this sthiti. Saswarupa sthitihi smritaha, he says. Know that to be your true nature. Know that to be your true ultimate Brahma sthiti. When all the mind's thoughts have disappeared, no desires, no analysis, no judgment, no opinions, nothing. And your inside has become deep and calm like the inside of a stone. And you are not sleeping. And you are not lying around in a coma state. No, that is not the reason. You are very active, moving about, doing everything. That sthiti is called as Saswarupa Sthitihi, your own true nature, which is Brahman. The same thought is reflecting here. Tamahu Paramangatim, the ultimate status, the ultimate nature of yours, Paramagatim, is when your buddhi also is not analyzing, mind is also not thinking, all the indriyas are steady. So then you will ask, it means I should be awake, I should go to a Himalayan cave and cross-legged, I should go off into deep meditation because then my body won't move. Mind also has nothing to do because there is nothing to lose or gain, I have taken sannyasa. And buddhi has nothing to think or analyze, except that whether I am progressing on the Brahman path or not, but hopefully that will also go away. That is why people run away to these Himalayas. Why? Because if they are in society, at least they have to answer a few questions. What is your name? They have to answer that. What is that you do? They have to answer that. In some way they have to engage in the society. Only when they run away from the society is this kind of a meditation possible. But then mind will chase them. Okay, after some time they will control the mind. After that, buddhi will be there whether it's attaining Brahman or not. Today's meditation was very good. I was so peaceful. Yesterday it was not like that. I was very disturbed. Day after, then something else may happen. So no steadiness is there in the buddhi. So when buddhi, manas and indriyas are not steady, you cannot attain Brahman. You cannot attain that sthiti, Brahma sthiti. So now you have to think from this point of view that how do you steady your indriyas? Naturally you have to merge that in mind, in the sense, think before you ink, look before you leap. What are you getting into? And many times you have fallen into this trap, many times you have hurt yourself. Yet pramadyante vitte mohena mudam. Again and again you make the same mistakes. How will your indriyas be under control? By fulfilling desires of the indriyas, you will never bring indriyas under control. Many times what happens when children are crying for something, mothers think, give that, whatever he wants, at least he'll be quiet. I'll be in peace. But the moment you give that child what you have done, you have taught the child that any time it does not get what it wants, all it has to do is yell. The louder it shouts, the faster it gets. This is what you have taught your indriyas. When every time you satisfy the indriyas without training them or disciplining them, you have taught the indriyas. If they demand too much, they will get it. So don't worry. Anytime you want to get it, just demand too much. This is not the way to train the indriyas. You must train the child. No, you will not get it. You yell, you cry, you roll on the floor, throw tantrums. All right, I am not going to deal with you. You learn to behave yourself. You learn to be disciplined. Otherwise, whole life will be demanding things only, the child. Never he will become better. One boy, a small child who stole some pencils in the school, pencil and rubber, slowly he grew up to become a big thief. And on the final day he was being hanged. And when he was being hanged, he said, my last desire is to meet my mother. So when mother came close by, his hands were tied. He told mother, come close, I have to tell you something. Mother thought maybe he has hidden some loot somewhere and he will tell me before dying. As he came close by, he bit her ear. He bit her ear badly and she cried. And all people thought, what a cruel son, biting mother's ears at the last moment of his life also. Then when asked, he said, it is the fault of my mother. When I first stole the pencil rubber in the school and brought it home, my mother encouraged me, oh very good, you are very smart, nobody caught you, oh, very, very smart, very good. And from there I derived this encouragement to go on stealing. And I became a thief eventually, and today I am being hanged. The reason for it is my mother who did not train me properly. Likewise, if we don't train our indriyas properly, they will destroy us. Pranashyati. Why? Because they demanded something, we fed it. I want to eat this, okay, have it. That is not the way to go on fulfilling desires. I want to see something movie, yes. Why? Because we have Netflix, just download. You have money, you can do. You have a computer, you can do. Just because you have a computer, you have money, you have access to things, it does not mean you go on fulfilling those desires. Many people say this, we are rich, how much our fuel we spent on, what is your problem? We are rich, we are paying for the water bill, how much our water we waste, what is your problem? We are paying for the electricity bill, if we leave the fans and lights, what is your problem? You have money, that is true, which you have gained from whatever ways. We don't want to discuss that. But these resources like water, the electricity which comes out of coal or sun or wind or water, whichever way, or the other things of life, oil, these are not produced by you, sir, though you have the money to buy it, but you cannot replace it. Can you? Can your money replace it back in the earth? No way. Therefore, you are not supposed to waste it. But this wrong pride that I have the money I am spending, buy so much of food, throw half the food. Why? I have my money, I have my hard-earned money, I will throw in water, what is your problem? Throw your money in water, we have no problem. But don't throw food in garbage bins. Don't waste electricity, water. Why? Because these are not created by you. You have paid for it, that is secondary. So this kind of arrogance, the indriyas are like that. They will convince us. If you don't enjoy in young life, after you become old, your eyes cannot see, what will you watch then? After the ears cannot hear, what will you listen to then? After your stomach cannot digest, what will you eat then? So enjoy now only, so that you can make the best use of your youth. By engaging all your senses 100% overworked, so that you are never bored. Your mind and indriyas are always busy, you are always entertained. But what are you doing? You are actually mistraining your indriyas. It won't listen to you after some time. When you don't want to do something, because your body cannot do it, it will not leave you. Therefore, train the indriyas. Indriyas should be steady. It means it should be only given what it requires to sustain, not beyond that. There should not be too much of entertainment for them, or too much of appeasement. Pampering should stop. And mind also, it keeps thinking something or the other. Teach the mind not to think. If at all it must think, let it think Aham Brahma Sarvam Brahma, so that at least it's out from that mess of thinking of wrong things. Then buddhi, slowly analyze, what do you mean by Aham Brahma? What do we mean by Sarvam Brahma? Can I apply it in my daily life? How do I apply it in my daily life? If somebody gets angry, how do I treat them? If I get angry with somebody, how do I control that? Buddhi should come now. Sattva buddhi should come. Pravrittam cha nivrittam cha karya karye bhaya bhaye muktam cha bandham cha yo vetti sa buddhi partha sattvaki. No prayas shreyas. No dharma, adharma, karya, akarya, what will lead me to bondage, what will lead me to liberation. Think like this and then use. After that you will reach a stage where buddhi has become so pure that it has merged in the God's buddhi. No more your buddhi works separately from God's wish. Your life is simply a continuous, uninterrupted, uncontaminated, consistent manifestation of Brahman's will. That's how your life should become. You're breathing Brahman, you're eating Brahman, walking Brahman, talking Brahman, sleeping Brahman. Nothing you're doing because you want to do. It is happening through you. Your life should become so effortless. That's when you are reaching Paramam Gatim. That is when you know that you are reaching there. So Paramagatim does not mean a destination at the end of all the ashrama dharmas. Finally when you die and you will go to Paramagatim. That is the Dvaita Marga. I have gone to 106 Divya Deshams. Now there are 2 more. And 2 more is Pal Kadal and a Paramapatam, and that I will die and reach. No, that doesn't apply in Vedanta. It says, as you are here and now, you are Brahman. Provided your indriyas are steady, your mind is steady, and your buddhi is steady. Once these vikaras go away, what is left behind is Brahman only. So that is the idea of the 10th shloka. Go to the 11th shloka. It's about another definition of yoga. It says, Tam yogamiti manyante thiram indriya dharanam apramattas tada bhavati yogo hi prabhavapyayo. It says, Tam yogamiti manyante. That is known as yoga. They call it as yoga. What? Sthiram indriya dharanam. When your indriyas are steady, it means eyes are not simply seeing, nose is not simply smelling, ears not simply listening, out of control. They are not out of control. Dharanam, you have kept them steady by your own will, not by fluke, because you are now paralyzed and all indriyas are steady. Nothing you can do. Or you are in coma, so indriyas are steady. No, jadyav nidra vinurmukta. Because you are in deep sleep, so indriyas are steady. No. As you are awake, your indriyas are steady. When this happens, it is called yoga, they say. This is a new definition of yoga. We have had so many definitions of yoga. Like yogas chitta vritti nirodha, says Patanjali, that when your mind's vagaries stop, that is yoga. Then yoga, karmasu kaushalam, we heard in Bhagavad Gita, when your action attains perfection, that is called yoga. Then samatvam yoga muchyate, when equanimity comes in your mind, that is called yoga. And this is saying yoga, sthiram indriya dharanam. That which helps you to keep your indriya steady, that ability is called yoga. So think from all yoga definitions are pointing to the same thing. When indriyas are steady, or chitta vritti nirodha, mind is steady, yoga karmasu kaushalam, yani buddhi is steady because through buddhi only you perform all the actions. And then samatvam yoga muchyate, all your emotions are steady. It means you don't feel sad or happy or dejected or excited. Samadukha sukha shami. You become like that. So all these definitions of yoga are only pointing towards one thing only. What? Absolute steadiness. Sita prajna, absolute steadiness, starting from your indriyas and the mind and the buddhi and all emotions, completely steady. That is what is sthira. That is what is called sthira indriya dharanam. So it starts here, but you have to simply extrapolate. See, Kathopanishad is not going to now do one more mantra. Yogamiti manyante sthiram manasa dharanam, sthiram buddhi dharanam, sthiram, all these things. You have to understand that from indriya that they are talking about, it goes all the way to buddhi, because the previous shloka has clearly said, manasa buddhischatna vicheshtate. Buddhi also should not be moving and thinking and analyzing. So this is yoga, when you are able to keep yourself steady in body, in your indriyas, in your mind, in your buddhi. That is what is yoga. And ultimately steadiness of all your thoughts and emotions of sukha, dukkha, labha, labha, jaya, ajaya. Everything should be steady. Then you are a yogi. Otherwise, what it says, apramastat tada bhavati. Then the person, when he is able to control the senses to begin with, apramastat tada bhavati, he becomes unerring. Because our problems and our mistakes begin with our sense organs only. That is where the mistake starts. You wanted to kill somebody is not a mistake. If you go ahead and kill somebody, it's a mistake. I wanted to give him back. It's not a mistake yet, but you go and give him back and then it's a mistake. Mind may desire something. Body should not follow it. When body follows it, the mistake is completed. Other at mind level, it's only at the seed level. It can die also. Only when seed is sown in the earth, it becomes a tree. So that mind thought level, if it's controlled, good. It will die down with time. But when the thought is converted into word through our indriyas, and words are converted into actions through our karmendriyas, what happens? Mistake happens. So the one who is able to keep his indriyas steady to begin with, look at that. How significant for a youth whose indriyas are in such tremendous vigor and power that they can drag him anytime if he is careless. Like a horse which is not very difficult to tame. Huge energy in the horse. Old horse will not run so fast. A young horse. So much of energy. You should see these calves, these cows, Goshala. Oh, they're uncontrollable, these calves. They jump around like this. You can't catch them. So much of energy in their limbs. Cows won't jump like that. Cows will walk slowly. But the calves, oh, you cannot control them. And imagine a horse itself is so uncontrollable. And that horse, if he's young, dynamic, healthy, you can only imagine how difficult to control that. So, in youth, indriyas are very, very strong. So it's very difficult. You may say, Swami, there is a riot of hormones going on inside me. I understand that. I never said that anything is wrong. That is biology, perfect. Biology has to be there, otherwise you will become sick. So biology should remain biology only. It should not become the whole of your life. Problem is that the biology becomes the whole of our life. What I eat, smell, taste, touch, that becomes the be all end all of our life. That's where we make a mistake. So we should keep that indriyas under control to begin with. The one who does that, apramastatva bhavati, he becomes an unerring person. Otherwise, yogo hi prabhavapyayo. Yogas can lead you up and they also come down. This is the risk of the yoga. Yogo hi prabhavapyayo. You may think you have attained yoga by practicing a few things, but anytime you will fall. If you cannot control your indriyas to begin with, you will fall anytime. Mind, yes, mind is the reason, but don't translate it into indriyas, that's all. Cut off the connection there. Mind wants to eat, touch, taste, smell, cut this off there. Let that not translate into indriyas. You may get hundreds of thoughts. Today you are tempted by something, the mind is torturing you, it wants to enjoy that. But if you can stop yourself from translating it into indriyas, you are saved. Example, Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a great king, first of all. And he later he was going once with his army, retinue, after having won a war, and they were all tired. And they came across the ashram of Vasishtha. And Vasishtha's ashram, they all thought they will take some shelter there. And he asked Vasishtha that if this possible to give some food or something for all the soldiers. Now it's a huge army, and Vasishtha is a small ashram. Vasishtha said, not to worry, we will take care of everyone. And not just they gave food according to the likes of the soldiers. Somebody asked for laddu, they got laddu. Somebody asked for milk cakes, they got milk cakes. Somebody asked for something else, they got that. Imagine, it was not a common menu for all. Anybody who asked something, they got that. Then Vishwamitra got very curious. Vishwamitra was that time a king. And he got very curious. He said, how this man is able to feed such a huge army with their favorite dishes? And instantly it is coming, that too in the middle of a forest, for so many people. So when he got curious, then Vasishtha told, by God's grace, I have got this cow called Nandini, which is the daughter of Kamadhenu. Kamadhenu is with gods, and this Nandini is with me, the daughter. It also is equally powerful. Whatever we ask, it gives. So Vishwamitra sees this, the king, Kaushika, he sees that. He says, wonderful, this cow is great. Can I take this cow? He asks. He says, no, this is given to us. Through tapas he had attained this cow. For the sake of upkeep of the ashram and other things, you can't take it. Now Vishwamitra gets very angry, the Kaushik king. And he says, I am the king. You are my subject. You better listen to whatever I say. He says, nothing doing. I am not going to give this cow. This is unfair. As a king, you should be protecting your praja. You can't demand things unfairly like this. And then the fight ensues and all kinds of weapons he uses, but he loses the war because Vasishtha is Brahmagyani. You remember Brahmagyani? Brahmam cha kshatram cha ubhay bhavate odanaha. And mrityursa upachese chanam. What will the Kshatriya or this king defeat Brahmagyani like with Vasishtha? So he has a very, very bad defeat and he runs away to save himself. And then he decides, I must defeat this Vasishtha someday and take that cow Nandini. So what should I do? They told, he's a Brahmagyani. Only we do tapas, you can match his powers. So he starts doing tapas. And during that hour, he is becoming powerful and powerful. Then our Indra is there. He is no less. He thinks that this fellow becomes very powerful, then he will occupy my throne in the heaven. Because once he did that, when Trishanku was there, he wanted to go to heaven in the body. He goes to Vasishtha. Vasishtha says, it's not possible, it's not fair. This is breaking the rule. Then he goes to all the 100 sons of Vasishtha, Trishanku. All the 100 sons also refuse him. So he goes to Vishwamitra and says, I heard Vasishtha refused me to send to heaven. Oh, Vasishtha refused you? Come Kona, I will give permission. Like that Vishwamitra's ego. Vasishtha refused you? I will give you what you want. What is that? I want to go to heaven in the same body. He says, same body is very difficult. You have to give up the body and then only you can go to heaven. No, that is the condition which you Vasishtha also could not fulfill. Vishwamitra's ego went up. Then I will fulfill it. I will do tapas and fulfill. So he starts doing some ritual and starts sending this Trishanku in the physical body itself to the heaven, it seems. But there Indra gets angry. He says, you can't enter heaven like this without permission. So he pushes him down. And Vishwamitra is sitting down. He gets upset with Indra. He pushes this Trishanku up. Now he's a ping pong ball, between Indra and Vishwamitra. And Indra pushes this Trishanku down. Then Vishwamitra thinks, I cannot control this Indra. So he starts creating a parallel universe, a parallel heaven. Vishwamitra himself is so powerful he had become by tapas. And as he creates the heaven and he wanted to establish Trishanku as the king of the Swarga in this universe, Brahma comes and tells Vishwamitra, you stop doing this nonsense. I am the creator here. You can't create a parallel universe. This is going to go against the principle of creation. So Vishwamitra gets scared because if he displeases Brahma, then how will we learn Brahma Vidya and how will he defeat Vashishta? So he says, okay, I will stop here. Now in this half-constructed Swarga, this Trishanku gets stuck. That too upside down it seems. That is why it's called Trishanku Swarga. Anybody who is so confused in life, doesn't know he wants God or he wants world, they're all Trishanku Swargas. Anyway, what I am trying to say is that Vishwamitra was so powerful. And then he goes on to do tapas further to beat Indra this time because Indra had given him hard time. And when he is doing tapas, Indra gets scared. He says, I must spoil his tapas, and he sends Menaka. Menaka is the best of the apsaras available in the heaven. She came out of the Samudra Mantana. So first he sends Rambha, Urvashi, but they are not able to influence Vishwamitra. Then he sends Menaka. And Menaka with her tantrum, with her all that what apsaras are all about, Kamini, Kanchana. Kanchana he was not interested in, but Kamini, she comes, she tempts Vishwamitra, and one fine morning when he is going to have bath in the river, she will be bathing in the river. Looking at her, he will lose all his tapas, brahmacharya, fall for her. They have a child, she is Shakuntala, and after that Vishwamitra realizes, what nonsense have I done? Now, all the time it happens like this. After we make mistake only, we realize we made a mistake. While making mistake, nobody realizes. That's why yesterday I was telling, Kama Krodha Udbhavam Vegam. It comes very fast, this Kama and Krodha. And that time, Shaknoti Iha Eva, then and here, if you can control this, Sodhum, means control it then when it comes at great speed. That is the time you have to apply brakes. If you let that come and pass, then you are already done. You made the mistake. After that, you cannot correct. So the mistake of Vishwamitra is what? Shakuntala's birth. Now, Shakuntala, he lives in Kanva Rishi's ashram and he runs away to Himalayas to run away from this Menaka. And Menaka also leaves for heaven because she is Apsara. She is not interested in motherhood, wifehood and all that stuff. They are servants of Indra. Indra uses those Apsaras like weapons to tempt yogis. So then Vishwamitra goes, 1,000 years he does meditation, becomes a Brahma Rishi and comes back as a match to Vashishta, but then by the time his anger is gone away, he becomes humble and they become friends. So the idea is that Vishwamitra was so powerful, he could create a parallel universe competing with Brahma himself. Falls for one Menaka. Yogo hi prabhavapyayo. Yogas are dangerous because you may rise in yoga, you may fall in yoga. Many are yoga brashtas. Like Trishankus also are stuck here in between. Neither they are of the world nor they are of the God. Somewhere in between they don't know what they are doing. So, yoga is subject to rise and fall. Therefore, first thing in yoga you have to do is thiramandriya dharanam. Then only apramattas tada bhavati. Then only you can become an unerring person. If your indriyas are not dharanam, means not kept steady, know for sure that though you might be thinking you are some great yogi, one Menaka will take care of it. That you will destroy yourself anytime. Therefore, the first step in this path of yoga is to control your indriyas. That similarly you extrapolate it to control your mind, then control your buddhi, and ultimately merge everything into Shanta Atmani. That is the ultimate Paramagati. So this is the idea. Similar word we have heard earlier. Nayamatma balahinena labhya. Na pramadastada. The one who pramattastada means the one who is going on making mistakes. To him also it is from Mundaka Upanishad. Balahinena. To the weak ones is not given to realize God. Also not to those who make mistakes. Va api alingat, it says in Mundaka Upanishad. Also those who are not attached to the idea of God. Means they don't really pursue. Why Vishwamitra got failed on the way? Because he had not developed that kind of firm conviction. On the way he slipped. So unless somebody has tremendous conviction on what they are pursuing And they are not weak in their bodies and mind. How? Because they have controlled their indriyas. Otherwise, sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. The more you enjoy the world, the more your indriyas become weak, mind becomes weak. So therefore, such people are prone to make mistakes and their yoga can become ruined. So first learn to control your indriyas. Then comes to the control of mind. Buddhi na vicheshtate tamahu paramam gatim. So this is the thing. And also we saw in one more mundaka only. You remember that you shoot the arrow. Om is the Pranamo dhanu sharohi atma brahma tad lakshya muchyate apramattena vedhavyam. The one who is not making mistakes, he alone can hit the target. Because other people were right, they have everything, they have the bow, the arrow, they see the target, they have all the strength to hit it. But last moment some distraction, some temptation, and they lose the strength or they lose the steadiness. So strength of the mind is keeping it under control and not engaging it with the indriyas is the strength of the mind. Steadiness of the mind and strength of the mind both are required. Otherwise you are going to miss the target. And begins with your indriyas. Because indriyas are the first most dangerous. They take you, the harati, it says they steal you away from yourself. Like a boat is taken this way, that way because of the winds. Likewise, your indriyas can push you this way or that way. For indriya sukha or indriya artha, you can make lot of mistakes. So keep a check on your indriyas. It is the idea of yoga.